In order to change an existing paradigm, you do not struggle to try and change the problematic model. You create a new model and make the old one obsolete. Richard Buckminster Fuller, owner of 24 Patents. The problem. According to the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, by the numbers, each year there are more than 448,000 reported football-related injuries to youth under age 15, totaling more than $6.89 billion in medical, legal, and liability costs.
Incredible statistic regarding football's possible effect on the brain. In a new study of more than 100 brains donated to science, all but one was found to have degenerative brain disease.
And now with football season here, a troubling new report tonight. We've long heard about the link between football and head injuries, concussions. And tonight, a new study finds the risks are even greater than we imagined. Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's disease, a startling reality check just as the season kicks off.
It's traditionally a big week for high school football. But for many parents and kids, a strong debate continues over the risks and rewards of the game. This season, 2 high school football players have died of injuries sustained on the field. Countless others have been concussed.
Growing concern about the dangers of high school football. In the first 7 weeks of this season, there have been 7 deaths related to high school football. That compares to 11 all of last season. ABC.
This incident, of course, the latest in a dangerous season already. 7 young players losing their lives in just 7 weeks.
Now, R.J. Reynolds High School sophomore linebacker Matt Goodfeller was seriously injured during Friday night's game. Reynolds' team doctor told WXII 12 News that Goodfeller was taken to the hospital where he was undergoing emergency brain surgery.
But the top concern for parents continues to be concussion.
The trauma team came out and explained to me what was going on. Said that he had broken his neck.
Before the game even started, I was with my girlfriend at the time. I just had this weird feeling that something was going to happen.
She was really good to me. Like the first few months this happened, but I guess she got kind of bored and she just didn't want to be confined. We just went our separate ways.
There are several people's lives that were affected by that one play.
When I was in ICU, I flatlined twice.
We almost lost Chris on 3 separate occasions.
I went to rehab in Dallas, and I spent 6 months in a rehab facility away from home.
I had feeding tubes in my stomach that they would have to feed me through until I relearned how to swallow them.
I think about the children that are paralyzed, these little boys, and I think about their parents. And I can only imagine the first thought is, I can't die now. I can't die now. Because who's going to look out for him if I'm gone? That's what we're talking about.
Fear factor. What scares parents most about tackle football?
That my son's going to get hurt.
The kid's getting injured.
Any of my 2 sons getting hurt while playing.
My son getting injured.
What kind of hurt?
That he's going to be paralyzed.
Severe injuries to the head and neck area.
Getting paralyzed, broken legs, hurt necks.
Concussions.
An injury where he's going to be hurt badly, paralyzed.
How does that happen?
Tackling incorrectly.
Still stopping. Go, go. Oh my gosh.
Not knowing how to tackle properly.
Go. There you go. Good hit.
Nice, guys. Get up. You're right. Bad tackling.
You should never stop running. Go.
They happen when you don't know how to tackle correctly.
Okay.
Plain and simple.
Oh. Wow. Why you guys knock each other out? Why you guys?
What scares players most about tackle football?
Head injuries, spinal cord injuries.
How does that happen?
Concussions.
Concussions?
How does it happen?
Yes, how does that happen?
Arms out, hips back, head down.
Okay, so that causes your hips to go back when you reach out?
Yes, coach.
So what are you saying? Are there certain terms that cause you to hit with your head? What are they? Would you know them?
term to hit with my head.
What terms that coaches use in terms of practice and they tell you the instructions that might lead to helmet first contact? What are they?
Biting the ball.
Bite the ball?
That's it. That's all I know.
What about wrap them up?
Wrap them up, yeah, that's a big one.
So what does that mean when you wrap somebody up?
You're putting your arms out and like your head down.
And what causes your head to go down?
Arms out.
Yeah, but what is about your arms out? What does the arms going out affect?
Your hips.
Ah, so if you wrap someone, reach your arms out to wrap them up, your head's going to go down because your hips go back?
Yes, coach.
So will you tackle like that?
Coach.
So what are you scared of when it comes to tackle football?
Nothing.
Wow.
Football is not violent. Football is physical. It's only violent when you use your helmet as a weapon. I'm not talking to a group of people. I'm not talking to a squad. I'm talking to you. Because today, you matter more to me than anybody else on the planet Earth. You. This is about you. When I'm talking, who am I talking to? When I'm talking to him, who am I talking to? When I ask you who I'm talking to, I want everybody's mouth to move. Everybody has to know how to tackle. Because it's instant offense and it's instant defense. It's an interception or a fumble. And guys on offense have to know how to tackle better than the guys on defense because they do it the least. And that moment when you do it wrong can cost you your very life.
The way that we've been tackling and all kinds of people have tackled, I'm surprised we haven't had more stretchers out here. I guess we just got lucky. We've been getting lucky.
There's time to have a standardized tackling progression all across the board. Right now, tackling is a Heinz 57 approach. Whatever your grandfather taught your dad, that's what he taught you, so that's what you're teaching them. But we know now that's antiquated. There's things that are dangerous. So number one is educate the coaches.
The best teachers are great students first.
I knock my knees. My toes are out like a penguin. And I'm rolling my bone over. I don't have an arch. So my bone's on the ground. And I'm pressing my heels down. And I'm sinking my hips.
Get the only hands-on tackling safety and performance coaches clinic of its kind in the world. Where coaches learn how to identify, eliminate, and replace the physical mechanisms tackling terminology and techniques that lead to head-first impact and potential concussions.
And this was given to me, guys. It's not something I just sat around and let me just Einstein this. No, I'm serious, man. I don't know if you guys believe in the Lord or not, but the only thing God can't do is fail. So when I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, teach me to teach them. That's where it came from, because the suffering of the little ones, the least of them, it's gone to his ears, man, and it's at our hands, and our doing in the name of a sport. Because we want to make them tough. We want to make them accountable, give them life experience. No, yeah, but we can do all that, but can we do it in a safer way? Yes, we can. Can we do it a better way? Yes, we can. And it's not anybody telling you what to do. I would never tell you how to run your offense. I don't care what kind of offense. Like you say, I don't care if y'all ever win a game, as long as you protect those kids. But ultimate winning is each little boy going away still loving football, whether he's going to play in high school or not. He goes away with loving that experience, loving you as a coach, and loving you. They love you, man. They do, if you treat them right. If you put them first. It's easy to change when you put them first and their well-being first. You lead with this. If you lead with your heart, that'll clear up everything. Any kind of, whatever you might have in your head that, nah, man, if you lead with this and it's a wrist injury, you'll eliminate it. You will not use it.
It is that focus on safety that drew some 150 people to the LA 84 Foundation and a special youth sports conference on football head trauma. And should children even be playing tackle football? Dr. Robert Cantu is one of the foremost authorities on traumatic brain injury and has authored over 379 scientific publications and written some 32 books, including Concussions and Our Kids. He clearly understands the danger of blows to the head, especially to kids.
Bobby's here, and I love what he's done with the tackling for youngsters. Technique is a huge thing, if taught properly, can avoid a lot of unnecessary head trauma. Much of it happens with poor technique.
Our role, or my role as medical director at USA Football, is to hopefully promote a better, safer game. And as we've implemented the Heads Up Football Tackling program, which is fit just along with Bobby's program, which I think is awesome.
More inventive things like Bobby has done, that's what we need, I believe. We just can't be doing it with live bodies. The price is too high to pay.
I'm a father first, and my son was 12, and he said, "Daddy, I'm ready to play tackle football," back in 1997. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to take you up and sign you up, but I'm going to help out because I don't want you to get hurt." And the president knew my name. He was a Bruin fan, which is cool. And I said, "I'd like to help out." He says, "You're the head coach." And now I went from one little kid that I was, scared to death for, and now I have 25.
Bobby Hosea was a defensive back at UCLA in 1977 and 78. Following 3 years in the Canadian Football League, he returned to California, where he has enjoyed a successful career as an actor, appearing in more than 70 TV shows and movies. It was his role as a father, however, which led him to his most important assignment.
I started doing the research. Then I started seeing all these injuries that result directly from people hitting with their head. And I just was on fire to go out and share what I knew I had been doing since '97 with the rest of the world.
The research that Bobby found showed that 1 in 100,000 high school football players suffers a serious spinal cord injury. Last year, more than 1.1 million kids played high school football. It was his belief that the majority of these injuries could be avoided if the proper tackling technique was taught at the lower levels of the sport, and the time to do so was now.
85% of all football-related brain injuries on every level of football competition happen in practice. These numbers need to be a wake-up call for us, not just to hear them, but to do something about it. All you got to do is look at the offensive line, for example. If you're a guard, you're going to read the front of the defensive front. You've got to step with a certain foot. You've got to engage the opponent at a certain part of his body. You've got to hit him with a certain part of your shoulder to work up to the linebacker. That's very intricate detail, right? Where's tackling? Why doesn't tackling have that same sort of detailed approach? That's the part that everybody stays away from, but I've focused on it primarily. Number one was to keep the kids safe. I didn't want to see a baby that couldn't get up. I want to have my eyes below the face mask of the ball carrier because the ball carrier acts first. And when I rip and shoot my arms, it's going to bring my hips forward, rock my head away, and I'm going to hit with my shoulders. We call it strike plate, shoulder tip to shoulder tip, just under your chin. So every time you go into a pile with your head down, you're really playing Russian roulette with your life, with your health, with your well-being. Every time.
I learned to keep my head up and to rip and not wrap.
Not to use my head in the tackle.
Other kids should come to this camp because you can tackle correctly so you won't get a brain injury in football.
The recent spate of stories about young football players losing their lives or being paralyzed while playing tackle football are tragic and sad, and are very stark reminders that changes, very dramatic changes, are needed. Since most traumatic brain, neck, and spinal cord injuries are the result of players initiating contact with the crown of their helmet while in the act of making a tackle, the key ingredient missing is a standard of care for teaching tackling. Standard of care is a legal term which means you have done your due diligence to minimize what is most dangerous about any activity. There are actual instructions that are inherently dangerous in the very DNA of the game since its inception, and most coaches don't even know it. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And in tackle football, the most dangerous aspect of the sport is making a tackle, but it can be made less dangerous if coaches knew how to readily identify, eliminate, and replace the physical mechanisms, the tackling terminology, the tackling drills, and tackling techniques that lead directly to crown first impact or helmet exposure to contact while a defender is in the act of making a tackle. In 1997, while my son was playing his first year of tackle football, I was no different than any other parent. I was deathly afraid of my son getting hurt to the point where he couldn't get up off the ground. So I created a tackling technique called the Dip and Rip Sticks Words to Play By 12-Step Tackle Progression. It is now known as the Hosea Method and trademarked as the Helmet-Free Tackle Training System. In 2011, LA84 Foundation, one of the largest funders of youth sports in California, commissioned a scientific research study to determine if the Hosea Method was effective at lowering head impact while defenders were in the act of making a tackle. The result of that Phase 1 study showed that the Hosea Method removed 100% of the crown from the tackle when compared to the traditional tackling technique that registered all the impacts to the crown of the head. If you're the parent of a youth or high school tackle football player, or you're a tackle football coach, you know that concussions are a very serious matter when it comes to the game of football and pose the greatest threat to the immediate and long-term health and well-being of every football player on all levels of football competition. Did you know that there's no coach on any level of football competition that is required to know what causes a concussion, nor how to prevent it? There's no standard of care. So the people that really need that knowledge and need that training and education are the players themselves. The best protection you can give your student athlete that plays tackle football is the knowledge and training to protect themselves. Clearly, tackle football is at a crossroads, and concussion is the primary reason for that crossroads. If we don't get concussions under control, the game of football is going to go away. Here's my system of training that I think can be used as your personal standard of care for teaching tackle football. Helping me help others helps us all. We can do better. We must do better. We will do better. Thank you. And remember, our children's future is in our hands. Our future is in theirs. Thank you.